name is Dr. Bob Ryder from Birmingham in the United Kingdom, and I'm presenting today data from the UK's first National Health Service, EndoBarrier service for refractory diabesity. These are my disclosures, and this is EndoBarrier, a 60 centimetre impermeable sleeve implanted during an endoscopy procedure into the first part of the small intestine such that the food passes through it rather than the small intestine, and it mimics the bypass bit of the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass bariatric procedure. We implanted EndoBarrier into 62 patients in our NHS service, and of these 45 or 73% attended for review 2 years after EndoBarrier removal. And this is their baseline data, and you can see that they were very obese with a BMI of nearly 42, hemoglobin A1C 9.2%, diabetes duration median 14.4 years. So these were patients who were very obese with very poor glycemic control, had diabetes for a very long time, and tried all the standard diabetes treatments. And this is what happened to them with the year of EndoBarrier treatment. They lost a mean of 17.3 kilograms, and hemoglobin A1C improved to 7.3%, and there was a big improvement in systolic blood pressure and the requirement for insulin, with a third of the patients being able to discontinue insulin. When we saw them again 2 years later, 73% had maintained most of the improvement they gained through the year of EndoBarrier, and 27% reverted to baseline. And here are the statistics that support what I've just said. You can see here that 2 years after EndoBarrier removal, this group were 14.7 kilograms less than baseline, and the hemoglobin A1C, which had been 9.1%, was still 7.6% despite the passage of 2 years. And this is the data for those who deteriorated. And when we talked to those 12 patients, most of them had experienced many problems in their lives and suffered from depression, bereavement, or major health problems. 10 of the patients had to have early removal of the EndoBarrier, 4 for gastrointestinal hemorrhage, 2 for liver abscess, 1 for another abscess, and 3 for gastrointestinal symptoms. And it is worth pointing out that all made a full recovery, and most derived considerable benefit despite the early removal, and in some patients it was clear that the problems were related to non-compliance with advice given. So for instance, with this gentleman here, the GI bleed could have been averted if the patient had followed the rules and not reverted to normal food during the second week of EndoBarrier, when he was supposed to be eating only pureed food. And another patient stopped taking proton pump inhibitor to protect from GI bleed. He had the GI bleed, but nevertheless he lost 9.6 kilograms over 10 weeks, with a big improvement in hemoglobin A1C and requirement for insulin. This lady here swallowed a piece of steak without sufficient chewing and blocked the EndoBarrier, which had to be removed early, but nevertheless she lost 23.6 kilograms. And this liver abscess case lost 18.4 kilograms during the 7 months of EndoBarrier treatment, so these patients all gained benefit and all made a full recovery. The hallmark of type 2 diabetes and obesity is hepatic insulin resistance and beta cell failure, and in association with the weight loss, there is also an improvement in alanine aminotransferase, which we have previously demonstrated associates with improvements in liver fat, and we did MRI scanning before and after EndoBarrier in a number of patients in a research study showing improvements in liver and pancreatic fat. And we know from the work of Roy Taylor in Newcastle that this improvement in hepatic fat associates with a big improvement in hepatic insulin sensitivity, and the improvement in pancreatic fat is associated with improved insulin secretion. These are some of the patients I've been talking about. This lady was the first to go from obese BMI to normal BMI, and 3 years after EndoBarrier removal, she sustained the improvement, and the marker of fatty liver disease has normalized and remained normal. This lady had obstructive sleep apnea requiring CPAP, and after losing 21 kilograms, she no longer required CPAP, as well as a big improvement in her diabetes. And 2 years after removal of the EndoBarrier, her improvement is sustained and she still doesn't need CPAP. For more information on EndoBarrier and improvement in obstructive sleep apnea, I refer you to data presented at ADA 2020. With 19.4 kilograms weight loss from EndoBarrier, this lady had a great improvement not only in glycemic control and requirement for insulin, but also improvement in renal function. For more information on EndoBarrier and improvement in renal function, I refer you also to data presented at ADA 2020. I mentioned that 1/3 of the patients no longer required insulin after EndoBarrier, and this is one such who previously required 260 units per day, and these are all the insulin pens that she was consuming per year, and this is all the other paraphernalia that she no longer requires. And 1.5 years after removal of the EndoBarrier, she has avoided 474 insulin pens. This is our summary and conclusion, which I leave you to read at leisure.